اعتقد كان من زمان ولا من امتى بالظبط؟
سنه بالضبط، ما عملناه في يناير الماضي.
صح.
فدارين نشوف هل لديك بقايا من الكلام اللي قلناه.
فكرني بروف ماشي.
طيب انا بسالك سؤالين لا ثالث لهما لانهم ديل ضربه البدايه. السؤال الاول، المحاضره هي اسمها Open Educational Resources.
تمام.
فعندها جزئين، الجزء الاول Open والجزء الثاني Educational Resources. كويس جدا، ممتاز. حسنا حتنضم لنا لانه برضه I was waiting for her عشان نسالها برضه معانا. حسنا سامعه؟
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
وعليكم السلام. اهلا يا حسنا، حياك.
الله يحييك دكتور.
انا سالت الشربيني قلت له انتوا اللي حضرتوا معانا المره اللي فاتت، واتمنى انه يكون في بقايا ترسبات مما قلنا فقلت له نسالكم سؤالين كده نطمئن. وبدينا السؤال الاول، قلنا we said the title is Open Educational Resources or Open Educational Resources، اللي هي جزئين، فيها الجزء الاول Educational Resources والجزء الثاني Open. what do we mean by educational resources؟
هو أنا في حاجات كده فاكراها طشاش يعني ضمار.
قولي الطشاش ما مشكلة.
يعني كده بالاختصار، في أشياء بيكون ليها حقوق للطبع أو حقوق للملكية، فهي ممكن تكون open resources. واحنا لما
لا خلينا نبدا، معلش يا دكتوره، دارين نبدا بتعريف الجزء الثاني اللي هو educational resources. نقصد بها شنو educational resources، بعدين نجي ل open. يعني educational resources.
I think إن هي بتكون open sites for citation or for references for free.
لا برضو انت مشيتي لمعنى open. We are still describing what we mean by educational resources. نقصد شنو يعني؟ what do we mean؟ شربيني
دي teaching والlearning material اللي موجوده في سواء كانت ديجيتال او في اي سورس موجوده يعني.
ايوه، اذا نمره واحد we are talking about learning materials، سواء كانت فيديوز، سواء كانت interactive tutorials،
اي حاجه
animation، دي اسمها learning materials. What else؟ هل أسئلة الاختبارات اللي بنلقاها هنا وهناك educational resources؟ Question banks online, question banks online, quizzes. Are they considered educational resources? Yes, they are.
Yes.
They are. إذن learning materials و assessment materials, OSCE stations, whatever. فإذا كانت educational بمعناها الواسع إنها learning or assessment. طيب what else؟
ممكن التكست بوك نفسها كمان يعني، حتى التكست بوك
exactly text books، publications أخرى، papers،
بالظبط،
course materials بمعنى syllabus، guidelines، policies and procedures. Exactly. What about applications؟ هل في applications educational نقدر نستعملها؟ apps سواء كانت computer applications.
في applications كتير.
تقدري تتذكري لنا واحد من applications very useful؟
من ضمن الابلكيشن يعني for nursing مثلا، في الناندز nursing care plans، في applications for ناندز nursing care plans.
ايوه اذا خلاص نحن الان اخذنا فكره. لما نبدا البرزنتيشن we will يعني ريفيو، لكن الان بدينا بالجزء الثاني من التايتل. التايتل فيه الجزء الاول open والجزء الثاني educational resources. يلا تذكروا open معناها شنو؟ open
يعني لايسند مثلا يعني.
ايوه لايسنس
free access.
في اكسس.
free access
يعني ماتيريالز اللي ذكرناها دي كلها سواء كانت كتب، سيلاباي، كورسز، اللي ذكرتوها كلها learning materials، كل الاشياء دي if they give you what they call permissions or conditions، الكلمتين دي مهمات جدا very important.
بالظبط.
يعني انا I can tag اي واحده من الماتيريالز المذكوره اللي قلناها، قول لنا عندنا بوليسي وحطيناها في الويب سايت، ممكن نعمل conditions for the use، يعني نقول لك if you use it you can do this, you don't do this الى اخره، او you have the permission to do this or this or that. فيبقى الان دي ضربه البدايه. خلينا اذا let us start the PowerPoint presentation and go through these two aspects اللي هم what we mean by open and what we mean by educational resources. This talk is going to be in 4 parts لأنه we have to go sequentially on the issues، على أساس إنه في الأول نفهم الأول بعدين نمشي اللي بعده. في مقدمة there is an introduction about open educational resources. Section 2 is a very important one because we are going to discuss the issue of copyrights والcategories حقتها. بعدين محمد الشربيني قال في حاجه اسمها لايسنسنج، دايرين نراجعها معاكم، ذكرناها السنه اللي فاتت، لكن دايرين نشوف what do these licenses mean، وين بنلقاهم، يعني اللايسنسز فيها ساينز مستخدمه فيها، what do these signs mean. لو لاحظتوا السلايد دي نفسها في اللور رايت كورنر في ساين كده، الساين ده معمول فيه دبل سي داخل دائرة وشخص في دائرة وكلمة باي. What does this يعني mean؟ فدي اسمها الكرياتيف كومنز ودي مهمة جدا الآن. people are paying more attention to it. وأنا بجيت every day I open websites ألقاهم مستخدمين they are using this licensing إلى آخره. بعدين the last part is very 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 important اللي هو finding and using open educational resources. Where do we find them? How do we find them? How do we identify them? And how do we use them when we find them? دي الأربعة أجزاء. الجزء الأول مقدمة عامة ونحن في الدردشة when we يعني كان في الآيس بريكنج الأول والwarming up إنه what do we mean by open educational resources بمكونين الاثنين. What do we mean by open and what do we mean by an educational resource؟ أول حاجة educational resources. Yes.
بروف ما في سلايد. السلام عليكم. اول
حاجه ثانك يو فيري ماتش يا اخي، انت فيري اوبزرفنت مع سايكايترست، ما عملت شيرنج. شكرا جزيلا.
لا العفو الله يحييك.
نعمل شيرنج من هنا. مش ايوه ستارت شيرنج من هنا. شير سكرين. اوكي. Now, can you see it now? Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it. Thank you very much. جزاك الله خير. Thank you.
Okay. قلنا نحن عندنا 4 أشياء حنناقشها. ال4 أشياء دي هي understanding مقدمة، والcopyright levels and categories، والcreative commons licenses، and where do we find and how do we identify. يعني لو أنا بعمل في searching ولقيت صور أو لقيت فيديوز أو لقيت syllabus أو لقيت policy، how do I identify that this policy is open educational resource or this syllabus I can use or this video or whatever. فدي ال4 أجزاء. الجزء الأول what do we mean by educational resources. في الدردشة قبل شوية أنتوا قلتوا digital or any other types of media. Sounds, videos, paper-based media إلى آخره. عندنا teaching and learning or research resources زي ما عددناها وحنعددها مرة ثانية. حتى الكورس plans تعتبر educational. الwork books, الcheck lists, all of this is considered educational resources. أو حتى الريسيرش ريسورسز. يعني في ريسيرش ريسورسز فور اكزامبل في حاجة اسمها statements. الستيتمنتس موجودة they are found online describing the different types of research ولكل research how it should be conducted. These statements are found in the public domain. وهنشرح what do we mean by public domain later on. So they are considered educational resources because we can use them to teach research methodologies. أيضا قلنا لا مش هذه اللي موجودة دي بنسميها open إمتى؟ If it is found in what is known as in the public domain or intellectual property اللي هي open plus 5 R's. هذه البوكس we are going to go into the details of this. What do we mean by public domain and what do we mean by intellectual property open plus 5 R's. 5 R's are the 5 permissions. Now, and these include على سبيل المثال زي ما بقولوا للحصر textbooks, course curricula, media, simulation, problem, PBL scenarios, كل الأشياء هذه تعتبر open educational resources as examples. لكن how do we know؟ هنشوف in a while. فده definition وطبعا it is defined in several different ways ولكن some of these ways are inclusive, they are comprehensive. عندنا ده the Texas definition of open educational resources. بيقول open educational resource means a teaching, learning or research resource that is in the public domain or has been released under an intellectual property license that permits the free use, adaptation and redistribution of the resource by any person. ده التعريف. إما موجود في public domain or licensed. فهنشوف public domain what does it mean وهنشوف license licenses especially the Creative Commons license. The Texas definition the most comprehensive one. إذا مشينا if we go to the examples again لكن المرة دي دايرين a very long list عشان نوصل الفكرة بصورة أحسن. إنه المقصود الأشياء الآتية: syllabi, lessons plans, learning modules, course design templates, library guides, policies and procedures. لو لاحظتوا all of these can be used in the learning environment. Also, discussion prompts, course videos, simulations, lab experiments, books, assignments and assessments. امتحانات كاملة. اللي من هنا syllabi, lessons plans إلى آخره we use them during the planning stage when we plan. ودول we use them when we are teaching. And these we use them when we are doing assessment, these ones. فإذا عندنا different types of resources that can be used in the different aspects of the educational process. Also, by the way, also there are some tools and facilities also considered open educational resources. They are open because they are free, and they are educational because you can use them in the educational environment. For example, free learning management systems like Moodle. Moodle is a free learning management system, so it's open, and it's an educational resource. So even a free learning management system. Also facilities used for sharing and communication. We all use Dropbox, we use Box, we use iCloud, we use OneCloud, we use Google Drive. هذه كلها facilities used for sharing and communication, and these are very useful in the educational environment, and they are considered open educational resources. Also some apps, some applications used for monitoring and interaction. وبناخذ example about Square, and there are some tools used for feedback and surveying or surveillance like Poll Everywhere. فناخذ أمثلة على السريع. عندنا learning materials. There is a good example which is KenHub. KenHub is a website containing beautiful educational materials, learning materials. عندنا for storage and sharing الtypical example هم اللي ذكرتهم أنا قبل شوية جوجل درايف Dropbox, Box, iCloud, OneCloud, etc. عندنا organization used for organization في some tool بيسموها Symbalo, and this can be used if you want to organize your work, your digital resources. You can use Symbalo, and some are used for collaboration. Doodle for collaboration, determining, agreeing on times for meetings. وعندنا latex as an example for collaborative editing. It's called collaborative editing. Some tools used for interaction and evaluation, and the example for that is called Everywhere. But they are also considered open educational resources. في حاجة اسمها massive open online courses. Whole courses, and they are open, even if it's included in their name. The name is massive because they are huge and they attract huge numbers of students because they are open and they are online and they are courses. They call them MOOCs. And by the way, the university is now planning to subscribe to Coursera, which is one of the largest platforms offering MOOCs. So you can use these MOOCs in your teaching environment. Example is, as I said, is Coursera. No need to click and go to Coursera later on. And by the way, I will send you later, I sent it last year. This PowerPoint presentation, I will send it in a PDF format, and you can click on any of these images and it will take you directly. For example, if I click on Coursera, this will take me to Coursera, and then you can have a look at the MOOCs offered by Coursera. Okay, then these are other sites that offer MOOCs, massive open educational courses, massive open online courses. These are the famous providers. There are sites which give you ready to adopt courses. And by the way, I think they have some nursing courses, لكنهم mainly for business. And if you go to this Sunny site, in the Sunny site, you will find a course ready-made, similar to the MOOC, but you can use it, you can adopt it, you can integrate it in your learning environment. And the site is called OER, which is Open Educational Resource.sunny.edu. It belongs to the University of Sunny or Sunny University, and it contains a number of ready to use. They call them the ready to adopt courses. And as you can see them, they're classified into business, mathematics, transitional studies, technology, social sciences, natural sciences, etc. So you can go to any of them and you will find ready to adopt courses, and these are considered open educational resources. Now, if I click there, we move ahead. Also, as an example, the learning management systems which are open include Moodle, and we are using it already. There is one called Camilo, and there is one called OpenEdX. It belongs to edX, the platform for MOOCs, and Canvas. Canvas is very popular in the US. In Saudi Arabia, it is used by a number of educational institutions, including the Saudi Commission for Health Specialties. So even Moodle, Camilo, OpenEdX, and Canvas are open learning management systems. The ones used for interaction monitoring and evaluation include TeacherKit, and this resource can be used to facilitate and manage the various aspects of education. And then a Kahoot, free game-based learning platform, makes it fun. Explain Everything, an online interactive whiteboard application. It's a whiteboard where people can play around and learn. And there is Poplet for visually. Also, Voxvote, and this is used for voting. It's called Voxvote, similar to Poll Everywhere, and we are planning to actually subscribe to Poll Everywhere. If you are interested, we are subscribed. If people start using it, then we will find a critical mass using it, then we subscribe. It is free but limited use, but if need be, if we all start using it, then we can subscribe to it. There is Socrative. This is for revision. Socrative is very good. If you ask the student, if you flip the classroom and you want to use an application to review with the students their understanding, then you can use Socrative. And Quizlet, it's an excellent tool that you can use it to create quizzes. And by the way, you can create the quizzes in Quizlet and integrate them into Moodle very easy. Also, there are video conferencing applications. Of course, you know Teams and you know Zoom, but there are others. Cisco WebEx, Microsoft Teams, TeamViewer, Big Blue Button, Google Meets, GoToMeeting, Adobe Connect, Jitsi, and all of these they have got a free component. Zoom, it will give you free, but if you want to subscribe, it will give you more facilities. Cisco WebEx, etc. So these are the video conferencing applications. They are all also considered. These are free, completely free. Big Blue Button, Google Meets, and Jitsi. Zoom, it has got a free part, and you can subscribe. Now, also the social networks, when they started, the social networks started as if they are for social networking, but gradually they turned into an excellent resource that can be used for teaching and learning. And including Facebook. Now Facebook, you can stream your lectures through Facebook. You can make links, etc. Also, you can use the others. All other media, they have got facilities that can be used for educational purposes. Okay, now this is an overview of what is meant by educational resource. Now, what is open? What is open? We are going to focus on open means free plus permissions. And the permissions start with the letter R, and this is why they call them the 5 R's, the 5 R's. And they are retain, reuse, remix, revise, and redistribute. And we will explain these 5 R's. Retain, what does it mean? If you find something and it says you can retain it, it means you can download it and keep it for future use. So this is what it means by retain. So retain means make, own, and control copies of the content, download, duplicate, store, and manage. Okay? Reuse means use it in different learning environments and atmospheres. It doesn't limit you to where you use it. For you use the content in a variety of ways, in a classroom, in a study group, a website. If I tell you you can reuse, I give you the permission to use it wherever. If I say revise, it means you can actually adapt, adjust, modify, or alter the content itself. You can translate it from a language into another. You can add some images. You can delete some parts of it. This is what we mean by revise. While remix, you can combine it with something else. If I find 2 videos, I can combine these 2 videos. This is called remixing. It is not revising. Revising means you are revising the actual content. Walakin remix means combining the original or the revised content with the other material to create something new. So you can incorporate this content in a mashup of materials. Akhiran, you can actually give others copies. اللي هذا اسمه redistribute. It gives you the permission to redistribute, which means sharing copies of the original content, your revisions, or your remixes with others, giving a copy of content. For example, if I find a digital book and it is free, then I can pass it over to everyone. This is what redistribute means. So retain, reuse, revise, remix, and redistribute These are the 5 R's. These are the 5 R's of open education resources. Now, this is the introduction. If you have any questions, you can ask anytime. Otherwise, we can move to the next section. When I share with you this presentation, you will find the resources I used or me and my colleague used to produce this PowerPoint. These are the resources. Now, now we are venturing into a new arena. What does the term copyright mean? So I want some interaction. Yalla, Omar, Aidarus, Marwa, Sherbini, Hasna, all attendees. What is copyright? And this is a very important term. This is a very important term. When you hear the word copyright, Navid, are you listening? Do you have a mic? Anybody else? What does copyright mean?
الصوت يا برو
الصوت
الآن رجع
اوكي الان كان قال لي النتورك unstable. Okay, طيب خلدوني, since you opened your mic, you can open it again and tell us what does copyright mean.
Copyright means that you cannot copy or use the resources by any means.
Yes, if it is copyrighted, then you cannot use it unless you buy it or you take permission. Yes, exactly. You own it or you own it, and even when you own it, the use is limited. There are no additional permissions. Use means if you buy a book, you read it. You cannot remix, you cannot redistribute all these permissions unless I give you. But if I say this is copyrighted, then it means you cannot use it. Even if you buy it, you use it in a very limited way. So we're now going to discuss the different levels of copyright. Now, before we go into copyright, anybody knows what intellectual property is? What is intellectual property? IP. IP. Is it the same as copyright? Is it the same, or are they similar, or are they related? Nobody heard of the term before? You heard? Yes?
Related, not similar.
Maybe protection of the original work of the authorship.
Huh?
Protection of the work of the original work of the authorship.
أيوة ممتاز. Protection of the original work of others, whatever that original work is. But when we say copyright, this is part of the intellectual property. I will show you a slide in which you can see the different types of intellectual property. First of all, the definition intellectual property, because of the word intellectual, refers to creations of the mind, such as inventions, literary and artistic works, designs, symbols, names, images, or whatever used in commerce. This is the original definition. Now, it is protected by the law, and it is automatically protected. Automatically protected. I mean, if I write a book and I don't say anything, then it is automatically copyrighted. If I paint and produce a painting, and I don't attach to it any sort of license or permission, then it is copyright. Sometimes people write it down saying this work is copyrighted. It's copyrighted, or it is protected by by copyright. This means intellectual property. I reserve all my rights. I reserve all my rights. And the typical examples are patents or copyright اللي هو we discussed a little bit والtrademarks. العلامات التجارية تعتبر intellectual property. And for each of these, there are laws, there are regulations, there are procedures you follow to actually protect your inventions or creations of the mind. Now, and this will enable people to earn recognition or financial benefit from whatever they invent or create. فدي intellectual property. And now we are going to concentrate on copyright because this is related educational material. And by the way, these are the 6 types. Copyright is one of them. Patents, براءات الاختراع, trademarks, العلامات التجارية, industrial designs, geographical indications وtrade secrets. الخلطة بتاعت ماكدونالدز والخلطة بتاعت كنتاكي, these are trade secrets, are considered intellectual property. لو كبرنا الكوبيرايت الديفينيشن بتاعها is very important. It's a legal term used to describe the rights that creators have over their literary and artistic works. وبالتالي literary والartistics ديل الاثنين مع بعض بيسموه copyright. Even making copies of CDs, music CDs, and all of that, if it is copyrighted, this is what means by copyright as part of the intellectual property. Now, and these range from books, music, paintings, sculptures, films, computer programs, databases, advertisement, maps, technical drawings. All of these are considered copyrightable or copyrighted material. Okay, now we know the general definition of copyright, which is form of legal protection automatically provides to the authors of original works of authorship, including literary, dramatic, musical, and artistic work. ده معنى copyright. It is part of the intellectual property laws, but it relates to literary and artistic work. For this, there are 4 levels. The first level is copyright. Copyrighted material زي ما قال دكتور خلدون إنه the material you cannot use until you own it, and when you own it, you use it in a very specific declared way. فدي بسموها copyright. The symbol for copyrighted is a circle with a C inside. Copyright. Now, then followed by something called fair use, and then open license, and then public domain. We will go very quickly over these 4 levels. Level 1, copyright. And here, it's a form of legal protection automatically provided. As I mentioned earlier, any creation of the mind is automatically protected by the law, unless you waive your rights. Unless you waive your right intentionally and willingly, you say, no problem, people can use it. Then you waived your copyright. But if you insist and actually you want to declare, you can add a phrase saying, this material is copyrighted, all rights reserved. All rights reserved. I reserve all my rights. Now, no copy, no modification, no distribution, no display anywhere. This is what it means. You do not display it, you do not distribute it, you don't do it. And when you violate one of these rights, this is called copyright infringement. And it is by the law. Then, therefore, all rights reserved means no permission is granted. Now, what does fair use mean? If a material is copyrighted, just a minute, this year, okay. If the material is copyrighted, you can use it fairly. You can use it fairly. What does that mean? Fair use means you can freely use portions of the copyrighted material, just portions. for purposes of commentary and criticism. You copy a page of a book, you copy a page of policy, and you talk about it. Commentary or critique. But you have to define what are you using this for, and what is the nature, the purpose and the nature of the use, the amount you are going to use, and if it is ever going to affect the market. So this is called fair use, and this relates to copyrighted material. So these two levels, the copyrighted material and the fair use, belong to copyrighted material protected by the law. Now we move into something very important to us as educators, which is the licensing. What is the meaning of an open license? Now, the open license, actually licenses are a set of conditions. And these conditions are applied to an original work that grant permission. You grant permission for anyone to make use of that work as long as they follow the conditions of the license. Then please, I want you to remember these very important terms: permission or conditions. Permissions to conditions. You can use it, give you permission to do this in condition that you observe this. This is called open license. And the most famous is the Creative Commons license. And now there is an Arabic translation for that. It's called Al-Musha' Al-Ibda'i. Rukhas Al-Musha' Al-Ibda'i. Even Arabic websites now, they say هذا الموقع مرخص تحت رخصة المشاع الإبداعي، عدم الاستخدام التجاري، العزو. المهم بنشوف نحن الأربعة أو الأنواع بتاعت permissions attached to these licenses. I need you to try to memorize and remember these four symbols. I am going to explain the symbols because these symbols are used to describe the licenses. There are four symbols, but there are 6 known Creative Commons licenses. You need to remember the 4 symbols, and you need to remember the 6 licenses. First of all, outside of the symbols, عندنا symbol إضافي. This additional symbol may, if I add this to my website, to my book, to wherever, this means I have no permissions, no conditions, nothing. You can use it freely. You can identify a whole website as public domain. You will say, this website is public domain. Or without declaring it, when you go to about the site, then it will tell you that this site is public domain, which means if you find any material in this website, then no problem, you can use it. Don't even mention us in whatever the use you are making. So this is the last level, which is completely free, the open domain. It is free for use by anyone for any purpose without restriction or conditions under the copyright law. Now, the public domain is the purest form of open. And if you find it in public domain, you can do whatever. You can even sell it. You can even sell what you find in the public domain, since no one owns or controls the material in any way. Now, examples for that, by the way, I will give you a typical example. Some of the medical education books, when they provide 2 new versions, the oldest one becomes public domain. For example, Practical Guide to Medical Teacher. Practical Guide to Medical Teacher, now it has got its 4th edition is out. It means the 1st edition and the 2nd editions are now public domain, and you will actually find them in public domain. One of the very widely known public domain sites is ResearchGate. ResearchGate. If you upload any material willingly in ResearchGate, it means you are putting it in a public domain. So whatever you find in the public domain, downloadable straight away, is free to use. But if you are asked to ask for a copy, then this is copyrighted, but they will give you permission to use it if you ask for it. This is a typical example. Also, academia, ERIC, there are many sites which are considered public domain containing expired work or say some not copyrightable material like titles, names, short phrases, slogans, familiar symbols, numbers, etc. الحاجات دي كلها تعتبر public domain if you find them in this website. So these are the 4 levels of copyright laws. The most restricted of them is the copyrighted material, and to attach to that one is fair use of the copyrighted material. Then we have the licenses, and then we have material in the public domain, which is completely free, no conditions, no permissions. And this is my third part. The third part is about the license. First of all, I'm going to explain, but as you can see in this slide, there are 6 licenses. There are 6 Creative Commons licenses. And as you can see, each license has got some symbols. And these symbols have meanings. We will first explain the symbols, then I will explain the licenses and what do they mean and how do people use them. And it's very simple. When you understand the license, you can download the symbol from the internet, and then you can add it to your course. You design the course, you want to make it, to give it a license, you see what permissions you want to allow, what conditions you want to attach, then you copy the right license and put it in your document. When I find your document online, I will see the license and go, Jazakallah khair, now I can use it because you are licensing. So let us go into these 6 licenses. First of all, they give everyone, from individual creators to larger institutions, a standardized way to grant the public permission. يعني هم عملوا standardized way, you can use it very simply على أساس إنك you want to give this particular permissions, بعدين you give the link and they click and they read more about these conditions. فإذا these Creative Commons licenses give everyone from individuals to institutions a standardized way to grant the public permission to use their creative work under the copyright law. من ناحية reuser, from the reuser's perspective, the presence of a license, a Creative Commons license on a copyrighted material, will answer for you the question, what can I do with this work? What are the limitations? What are the conditions? What sort of permissions are attached to this work? فإذا من creators' point of view, the standardized way to grant the public permission. بالنسبة للreuser's perspective, it will tell you what can I do with this work. أول symbol هو double C in a circle. It means this work is licensed under the Creative Commons license. The symbol الأول. The second symbol is called attribution. بالعربي العزو, which means I just want you to mention that this work was produced by somebody. If I say it's only, all I want is attribution, it means others can copy, can distribute, can display, can perform and remix, can do whatever. But I just want them to credit the name, my name. I request you to credit my name. There is some detail about attribution, I will mention it. The symbol is the image of a person inside the circle, and under the circle, the 2 letters by, which means this work is produced or created by. This is called attribution or by. The second symbol is no derivative words, which means it is equal, means use it as is. Don't make derivatives out of my work. If you want to use it as is. And it is an equal sign in a circle with the 2 letters N, D, symbolizing no derivation, no derivative work. So others can only copy, distribute, display, or perform verbatim copies of your work. The third symbol, it's called share alike. If you produce something, if I give you the permission to remix, I give you the permission to revise, then your product, you have to share it under the same license as my work. If my work is to some extent protected by a condition, you also use the same condition to protect your work. So share alike means others can redistribute your work only under a license identical to the one you have chosen for your work. Yani they cannot give it a different license. And the symbol is like that, a curved arrow with SA, short for share alike. And the fourth and the last one is very clear, non-commercial. Non-commercial means you can use it, you can reuse, redistribute, remix, do whatever, but don't sell it. Don't benefit from it financially. Others can copy, distribute, display, perform, remix your work, but for non-commercial uses only. So we have 5 symbols. One of them is CC, Creative Commons. The others are actually descriptions of what you can do and what you cannot do. These 4 are used to produce licenses. So they are not a license, but these 4 symbols are used to create licenses, and these licenses have a combination of these conditions. Now, these are the 4.
Prof, could you please just, I didn't, I missed how to to differentiate between non-directive and shared alike.
Okay.
Kindly.
Non-derivative is talking about the material itself. Share alike, it means about the permission you are going to give for the use of the material. If I say no derivative, it means you don't change my work. Don't change my work. If I say share alike, I'm saying don't change my license. If I say my license is attribution, then I say share alike. Share alike means if you want to share your work produced from my work, use attribution and share alike. If I say attribution, share alike, and commercial, then you have to use the same type of license, which includes attribution, share alike, and non-commercial. This is what means by share alike. But no derivatives, I am prohibiting you from changing my work. Don't change my work. So if I put all these 4 symbols, what I'm saying is, please don't change my work. Don't sell it. Give me attribution and share it just like me. If you share it, you use all these 4 symbols so that people will also no change, no selling, share alike, and an attribution for me and you. This is the difference between no derivation and share alike.
Thank you.
Okay, attribution. Attribution means you must give me credit. Give credit to the creator. This is attribution. Share alike, I just explained it. Adaptations must be shared under the same terms. Non-commercial means only non-commercial use for the work is permitted or are permitted. And finally, no derivatives or no derived work means no derivatives or adaptations of the work are permitted. And as you can see, attribution is the lightest, and no derivatives and non-commercial are on the most difficult side. Now, just a revision by, this is the first license. The first license, if I put this in my material, for example, I produced a manual, a handbook, small handbook, and then I just put this symbol on the book. It means I'm not prohibiting you from doing anything. You can do whatever, you can even sell it, but just mention me. Just mention me. And by the way, there is a way in which you give attribution. I'm going to explain it in a little while. So this is the lightest type of license. The second one, in addition to mentioning me, please don't sell it. This is the second license, buy and non-commercial. The third one is also buy, but no derivation, which means you can even sell it. You can sell it and you don't have to share it alike. I just want you not to change it. Don't change it and mention me. This is the third license. The fourth license, you mention me and you share it alike. The fifth license, more restrictions. Mention me, don't sell it, and share it alike. And the most strict one, mention me, no commercial use, and no derivation. These are the 6 Creative Commons licenses. You have to understand them for 2 reasons. The first reason, if you find them on an open educational resource, you know the limitations, you know the conditions, you know the permissions. And when you produce your work, you select one of these 6 and attach it to your work to indicate to the users the type of permissions and the types of conditions you are attaching to your work. 6 licenses, and these are details. You can read about them when I send you the PowerPoint presentation, because I want it to be including everything. And this is how we move from most open to least open. You start from CC 0, which is public domain. Then buy, share alike, then buy no derivatives, then buy no commercial, then buy no commercial and share alike. And finally, the least open is attribution, non-commercial, and no derivation. And this is a combination of the licenses just for your review purpose later. I just want to mention one slide about attribution. How do I give attribution to the creator of the work? If you find a document that I created and I said, please, attribution, just attribution 4, which is Creative Commons version 4 attribution. Now, what does it mean? When creating, no, already we mentioned what it means, but how do I do it? There is, when you create an attribution statement, there is a good rule of thumb to remember the acronym. TASL, TASL. TASL, what does it mean? You give the title, the author, the source, and the license. Title of the work, who created this work, what did you get it from, and preferably you give me a link to that source, and then you tell me what is the license itself. I want to click on the license, I go to Creative Commons and have a look at the license. And by the way, the license is not under anybody's name, it's a common license, it's called attribution. When anybody can click and go there and read about this attribution license. So the title of the work, the author of the work, the creator of the work, the source, preferably a link or where the work can be found, the license of the work. For a variety of examples, take a look at the attributions list at the end of this PowerPoint presentation. There are different types of attributions, attribution list, and you click on them, they will take you to the different types of attribution. This is important regarding attribution if you are going to use it or to understand it. So TASL is the approach, the TASL approach to attribution. The title, for example, of the image, the author or the creator of the image, the source of the image, where is it from, or the link, and the license, attribution for or whatever. And as you can see there, these are different licenses. This is about practices for attribution, Creative Commons licensing, nuts and bolts. This is reading material about attribution. And actually, there are some lists as examples. These are the lists: Creative Commons Attribution International License 2020. This was last modified 2nd of January 2021. Now, this is about Creative Commons licenses. Now, the last part of this webinar is where do we find and how do we identify? And we are going to spend the remaining part of the PowerPoint to show you this very important. Now you understand what copyrights mean, what fair use mean, what license mean. Now, where do we find and identify these OERs? First of all, if you know an address for material which is licensed, you can go directly to that site, and whatever you find there is already, and there are lots of them. I will just give you some examples. There are sites dedicated to OERs. Or you can search. You can write down, for example, nursing learning material, OER, see Creative Commons. You can search for these resources using the keywords that indicate you are actually looking for a Creative Commons licensed material. For example, there is a site called Skills Commons. Skills Commons. If you go to that site, whenever you go to that site, whatever you find in that site is Creative Commons licensed. The website today is the network is okay. Not now, always not now, not now. Okay. Now, if you go to this Skills Commons, it contains open educational resources. Whatever you find here is open educational resources. There are videos, and there are Skills Commons about OERs. You can find material about OERs, and then you can go and browse. You can showcases, you can solutions, you can subscribe, you can log in. So this is an example of a website that is offering open educational resource. If you know the address to the website, you can go directly to that website. While searching for repositories, you can search for them. For example, Skills Commons is good, but the largest is OER Commons. It is called Open Educational Resources Commons. It belongs, by the way, to Creative Commons, the platform, Creative Commons. So if you go to OER Commons, it's a search engine that will identify open educational resources all over the internet. So if you go to oercommons.org, then you can actually search, and the search, as you can see, you can, what you are looking for, you write it there. You can limit the search, you can refine the search by selecting what sort of subject. You can select an education level. Do you want it for high school, for college, for university? You can add some other standards produced by educational institutions, and then you can click search. So you can even go to advanced search and introduce more conditions. So this is a very, it's a beautiful, very powerful OER search engine. And it is oercommons.org. This is the second important site you can use. And of course, the Skills Commons, I just clicked on it and show you. These are just repositories of OERs. You can go directly and have a look. These are the Skills Commons. There are important websites, and I think you need to look at my PowerPoint when I send it to you after this webinar. There are some places where you can find open textbooks. What I mean by open textbooks, it means they are now put in the public domain, and you can take them and use them straight away, and you can do whatever, the 5 permissions. You can retain, you can reuse, you can remix, you can redistribute, whatever. So, example, there is one site, very important site, University of Minnesota. It is called Open Textbook Library. it is open text library لكنها mainly college level open textbooks. If you click on the link, it will take you to that open textbook library as an example for open textbooks. It's called the Open Textbook Library. فيها around 1,000 books, and then you can browse them by subject. You can go and introduce to philosophy. If I want to browse by subject, you click there, and then there is business, humanities, mathematics, chemistry, biology, whatever. This is a repository of open textbooks, and it's called the Open Textbook, and there are many. There are many. The other one is also, it's by Rice University, and it's very good. It's also open textbook and other materials. It's not only textbooks, but it's called Open Stats. So, Open Skills Commons, OER Commons, Open Textbook, and Open Stats. Free, flexible textbooks and resources. You can get started from there, and there are, for example, there are answer guides, learning management integrations, etc. So get started. You can subscribe to this, and then you can log in, but you can also free, go straight without even subscribing, and then you have many categories, and you can search different categories from there. So this is called Open Stats, open license, peer-reviewed, 100% free. Now, this is the Open Stats library, and it contains lots of stuff. Now, for the healthcare professional education, there is a huge website for learning material, and it is called HEAL, the Health Education Assets Library. HEAL is short for Health Education Assets Library, and it was produced by the University of Utah. It contains images, image libraries, video libraries, animations, many collections. And this is the Health Education Assets Library, or HEAL. And as you can see, there are many collections. One of the beautiful collections is the Knowledge Weavers Pathology Library, and neurologic examination, the anatomical approach. If you click on that, you will find the materials, and they are free to download and use. They are called, this is just an example, pathology images you can use for your teaching. There are about 7 beautiful pictures. That's just an example for HEAL. HEAL contains lots of things, and you need to browse it and make use of the material found. Now, there are special sites for images. There are special sites for videos. For example, YouTube and Vimeo, you can find videos that are Creative Commons licensed. There are more textbooks like LibreText, Open Textbook Project, etc. There are some images. The most famous are Pixels, or Pixabay, or Noun Project, and many. These are just examples. I put them in this slide because you can click on them and go directly to the website where you can search for images. For example, pixels.com, you click on it, and then you search for images. Say heart. I always use heart as an example. Just click. Just today, the network is very slow. Anyhow, you can search for images there, and you can actually search for videos in YouTube. I will tell you how to identify images if you use Google search, and how to identify videos if you are using YouTube. After you find them, how do you identify the licensed material? ناخذ الإكزامبل الأول اللي هو the advanced search of Google. If I use advanced search of Google, searching for images, and then I find these images, how do I filter them? How do I filter the image? How do I identify the ones which are free to use so that I can use them in my website, in my PowerPoint presentation? And by the way, if you use an image in PowerPoint and then you make it a YouTube video and you put it in YouTube, you have to make sure that all the images in your PowerPoint are not copyrighted, are Creative Commons licensed. So how can I know which of these images are under the Creative Commons license? Above below the search and above the images, you will find tools. The word tools as a menu item. There it is, menu item. You click on tools, it will then give you the tools, size, color, type, time, etc. One of the tools is usage rights. When you click on usage rights, then you can find Creative Commons licenses, commercial and other licenses. So if you select Creative Commons licenses, it will filter the images which are a Creative Commons license. This image, for example, it's a GIF image, and it's licensed under the Creative Commons Attribution license. I can put it in my website and don't worry about it because it is under the Creative Commons license. So this is an actual image, and I put it in the PowerPoint so that you can see it's an excellent image. Now, if I click and go to the license of the image, I will see that it is attribution share alike. Attribution share alike. So what it means, just mention that I got this image from this part of the internet, and give the tassel kamil, title, author, source, and license. And then when you use it, you just share it alike. Don't sell it, no, share it alike. Say also people can use it through attribution and share alike. This is for this lesson. What about if I look for videos? When you search for videos in YouTube, under the search bar, you will find filters. The word filters. If you click on filters, it will open for you this page, different types of filters, but one of them is the features, and in the features there is Creative Commons. And if you use this filter, all the videos which remain are licensed under the Creative Commons license. This is one way of doing it. You search for something, then you select filters, then you select Creative Commons, then it will filter for you the Creative Commons licensed videos. Another way of doing it, under the description of whatever video you find, there is license under the description. You will find license, the source, view attributions, or Creative Commons license, you reuse allowed, and so on. So, and then you click on Creative Commons, it will take you to the license under YouTube, and you read about it. Now, I don't want to go into searching, but I want to show you what do you do if you want to license your video. If you have a video, you have uploaded your video, and you want to license this video, what do you do? Actually, these are my videos. Then I can click.
License your video, open your YouTube channel, and in the channel content, you'll find the list of the videos. And when you hover over any of the videos, an icon driven menu will appear. You need to click on the edit all the details. Then there it will open a page for you. And then in that page, you go down and click on show more. And then you scroll down, you find license. And then the license, the current license, the automatic license is a standard YouTube license. You click on that and select Creative Commons Attribution, and then you save.
this is how you you start editing your video, and under editing you select the Creative Commons license. Now, these are sites for free media, Yamindo, or Flickr, or Digital NZ. These are the most famous sites for images. Flickr is actually the most famous of the three. You can go to Flickr and search for images. All the images in Flickr are Creative Commons licensed, so that you can use them freely without worrying about copyright. So you can use them on the PowerPoint, on your publications or whatever, and also Yamindo and Digital NZ. And these are more websites. You can click on any of them and it will take you to a site in which you will find free educational resources. By the way, some universities are doing a lot in this field. For example, MIT, for of course, computer and other types of engineering. MIT is the largest, but University of Michigan is offering lots of things. They have Go Open, they have Open Michigan, they have Alice, they have many resources they are offering for free under the Creative Commons licenses. And these are more examples. I will send you this PowerPoint after we finish the session, and it will be in a PDF format, and it's clickable. It's clickable. If you click on any of these links, it will take you to the site. And by this, let me just see. Sami Harabir, sorry, Prof, your sound was not clear in how to ask for license. I didn't catch. Okay, I will show it to you practically, Samia. I will finish the PowerPoint presentation. I'll open the floor for questions, but I can go to YouTube and show you stepwise. If you mean, do you mean if you want to license your work, or you want to see the license of the work you find? Yes, how to license your work. Okay. Okay, this is the end of my PowerPoint. Before I open the floor for some questions, let me go to YouTube and demonstrate of using. If I go to YouTube, there, go to YouTube. I said to know, I will go there, look for example, cardiac cycle, alas, or cardiac examination, or cardiac muscle contraction, whatever. I searched for videos on cardiac muscle contraction. These are the videos, but I don't know which of them is under the Creative Commons license. There are two ways. There are two ways. I can go to filters. I say Creative Commons. Then all these are now, all these are under the Creative Commons. I filtered the videos in the search results. Now all of these I will confidently download and use, remix, reuse, whatever, because they are licensed under Creative. How did I know? I used a filter. I used a filter. The other way, to click on the video itself. When the video opens, we make and sell the best. When the video opens, you go down and show more. And there's a description, there is show more. Click on show more and it will show you the license. Creative Commons Attribution license, reuse allowed. If you want to actually have a look at the license itself, you click on view attributions. Because the network is not that good. But anyhow, let me check another one. Let me go back. Then you have this list of videos. I click on the video. When the video opens, if it opens, yes. Then I go to the description part of the video. Sorry, now I am in a website. Let me go to YouTube again. Go back in YouTube, step 4. Now I'll go to search there. I want YouTube videos. These are not YouTube videos. Yes, this is a YouTube video. I click on it. When you go to YouTube, you click on show more. By the way, this site is very good. It's called Anatomy and Physiology for Paramedics. And then if you click on show more, if it is under Creative Commons license, the license will appear. But there is no license, it means this is not under the Creative Commons license. And this is why I prefer to use the filter. I use the filter, I say, okay, which of these are Creative Commons licensed? Then whatever it is selected is Creative Commons. Let me check. I click on this. I go down and click on show more, then it will give me Creative Commons license because I filtered them. I say select only the Creative Commons licensed videos. Okay, now if I want to license one of my videos, I go to my channel, go to your channel, select any of the videos, click on the video, but you go to the studio, you don't open it there, because if you open it there, you cannot edit. You go to the YouTube studio, here, videos. Click on videos. It will give you the list of your videos in the studio. Because there is something called YouTube Studio. And in the studio, if it opens, you select any of your videos and you click on this pen, detail. And then you move down under details. And then you click show more. And then you go down until you find license type. And then you click on this list and select Creative Commons license. And I say save, which means I attached an attribution license to this video. If you find it online and you are going to use it to teach or to put it somewhere else, then you have to give me attribution. You have to mention me using the tassel, title, author, source, and license. الأربعة دول تذكرهم if you use my resource. I will stop sharing and will give you the chance now to ask questions. Any questions?
Assalamu alaikum, Prof. Yes, I have. I have, just could be just simple question, but what if I find, one of my video shared by others without my, my permission? This is one thing. The other things, is it really common? Just if you use something and somebody will, just make a case for you and just go to the,
to court.
Yes. Yeah. How common and how it common practically,
but not they do not go to court. YouTube and Facebook, they have reporting. You can report that this video is mine and this person is using it without my permission. They have the reporting system in YouTube and a reporting system in Facebook. So you can report to Facebook and to YouTube, and they will remove it. They will stop it if you don't want to make problems with the person using your video. If you want to make a problem, then you take it a step further. What
if I, if I have something, a book or, something, and then I found other people or a scale, for example, and other people use my scale, this is my own scale, without permission. Using it where? Well, for example, they want to make a study, and they utilized my scale in this study.
Okay.
And it is copyrighted. It is my and they didn't take my permission. And
if it's the publication, you report it to the publisher, to the journal or the publication site, if it is an online, even if it is open access or free access, you report it to the publisher, and the publisher will take it a step further. They will take actions, and some of these actions they will ask you, do you want to have a legal case? And then they will direct you to the process of actually asking for legal action. So
Okay.
it is the responsibility of the publisher.
So that's reporting to the publisher,
Yes.
because this is the idea. Okay.
Yes.
The same things can be happened if you are an author. Sometimes some students may be related to, our job. Some students, they, well, I should be the principal investigator, for example, and this is an agreement with the university that, the supervisor should be the principal investigator. And some students, they go and publish it without even informing you. What do you think? How can one do just to, well, if you want to correct things, what is the right things to be done in this case?
There are levels, and by the way, there is some Australian guide, fantastic. It will give you details of how to act in the various situations, and it is called the authorship guide. I will send you a copy, and in that guide it will tell you, for example, the first step, you report the students to your institution. You have an institutional review board. The review board is not only for proposals. You can report to the review board. If it is already published, as I mentioned, you can report it to the publisher. Say, this material, this paper includes my material, and it is used without my permission. What do I need to do? They will, to start with, they check, because you will tell them where to find your original work, and then they will check if you are right. Then they will remove the publication, and then they will ask you, well, what else would you like to do? And then they will direct you to the different actions. But this book, this guide, this Australian guide on authorship is comprehensive. It includes advice on the various issues related to publication and violations. And I called it copyright infringement. The copyright infringement under the copyright law. If you want to go to legislation, then our litigation actually, you can do that. But if you want, just ask them to remove the publication, and they will do it, and that's it, khalas. But if you want to sue, then there are steps you need to take to prepare your case.
Thank you very much, Prof. It's really very important. Highly appreciated your effort. Thank you very much. Thank you. Really, thank you. Bye-bye.
Any comments or questions?
شكرا جزيلا بروف.
Okay, shukran Sirvini, shukran everybody, shukran ladies and gentlemen.
Please, Prof, I have a question here. Please, if you allow me.
Yes. You are okay now. No cough, no fever.
Yes, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Are the materials in the international organizations like WHO, are they public domain?
Yes. WHO is public domain unless they say this material is copyrighted. But all their reports, all their guides are all public domain, unless they say copyright. But by the way, they copyright their logo. The logo, it's not copyright, it is intellectual property. If you remember in the introduction, I said there is copyright and there is intellectual property. Copyright is one of the intellectual property issues, but you can copyright a logo. You can copyright any commercial secrets.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I will see you in another.
Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you.